Hello and welcome to Mindful Ways. And today we have Julia. Julia is based in Germany. Sie ist aus Deutschland. It's a long time since I've spoken any German, but I thought I'd give it a go. But her English is magnificent. So if you so at certain points, if you feel like you want to explain yourself in further detail or anything like that, Julia, it's absolutely fine. I'm sure that we will pick up everything that you're saying. I know from chatting with you before that you have such a wealth of knowledge, and we're very much on the same page as well, which really, really helps. So today, we've just been chatting before we came on. Today we want to talk about, so it was quite funny actually, because when we said hello to each other, we went, how are you today? And we both wanted to know how each other was, and with each other we can be really honest, not brutally honest, but honest with each other, that go that little bit further than just the formal where we just say, yeah, I'm good, thank you, and get on with the rest of your day. And we thought, do you know what? It's really awkward, isn't it? When people say, how are you? How do you deal with it? How do you feel when somebody says, how are you today? I find it really awkward.
Absolutely. It's, it is awkward because, you sometimes feel you would like to share something, or you have split emotions, or a part of you is feeling really good and is excited, and there's another part maybe that's dealing with some issues or dealing with any kind of problematic situation, and then we're kind of insecure to what to share or what to present.
How far can we go with telling this person how we are and what we're doing today? And I think if you really have that natural ability, or that natural instinct, not necessarily a need, which is a different subject, but that instinct to want to know how people are and to want to connect with people, then you do want to stop and have a proper conversation or chat with people. But obviously it depends as well on how well you know that person.
Yes, and absolutely, and if you really want to be in tune with people, and you want to connect, as you said, so you're really honestly interested. So I can speak for myself. If I want to connect with someone, I'm really interested how they really feel. So even if they have something that doesn't feel very good in their life, or they don't feel really good, I don't have a problem when they share it with me, or give me this information, because I'm interested in. And I think that's important it's all about when we have or build connections to each other, that we are not always pretending everything is fine. I mean, hopefully everything is fine, but for many people, not everything is always fine and perfect.
Exactly. And so it can be really triggering, I think, for some people, asking them how they are, and then they actually stop and think, actually, I'm really having a bad day, but they can't say that, and they can't be authentic, and they can't be honest. And it's, they go away feeling bereft in some sense. And and I haven't really thought about what we can do or say differently. What kind of question can we ask to show our interest in that other individual? But I think I'm conscious that so many of us have so much going on in our lives that that if we do start offloading onto people, how much is that individual going to be able to take on or deal with? Or are we just passing on bad news, and then they'll meet somebody and go, actually, I'm not feeling very good today, and then it's a vicious cycle, and then it goes along to everybody else that they meet. Just as much as good news travels fast, bad news travels fast just as much. And it's a really, really difficult one, and because we do want to be authentic and we do want to be ourselves. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's from both sides. From the person who is asking, how are you? I think we also feel the intention of that person sometimes.
Yes.
That you can feel, does he or she really wants to know how I am? Like, is she really interested in the person? What is me, or what is concerning me, what. So I think if we feel that, if someone is really honestly asking, how are you feeling, so I think it opens the door a little bit, so we can open our hearts, and then I can choose whether to share information. So if not everything is fine, I can say, well, my life is fine, but I can give some information without putting a burden to other people or to overload other people with the negative information. And so I think that depends also on my intention. So when I'm asked, how are you? It depends, what is my intention. Do I want to overload someone? Or am I looking for a savior or someone who is helping me? You know what I mean? Maybe I have a deep need, or is it just I share this information because I want to be honest and authentic, because I could be in a situation maybe where I have, or anyone else, we could be in a situation where we have troubles, and we're really going through a lot, or be depressed or whatever, and people sense that. And if we say, well, everything is always fine, and you can sense what is behind that, we can sense energy. And so there's a huge discrepancy between what I'm saying and what I'm really feeling, and this is inauthentic. And people can sense energy, or when you're very empathic, or people sense that. So I think it's kind of a way to balance it. And also, I would like to add that it also depends, how safe do we feel to share things when we show ourselves vulnerable? Do we feel safe to talk about it or to share this information? And I think many people, they have, or the majority of people, we are afraid to maybe be rejected when we speak out, or we speak our truth. What do you think?
Do you know, I absolutely resonate with everything that you've just said there. And I'm trying to think back now and remember and pick out the points that you said. I think it is really important that we look at it from the perspective of, this person has really good intentions. Although I think that sometimes it's a bit of a tick for people, where they say, how are you? But they don't actually mean they don't actually want to know how you are.
Absolutely.
You know, and go into detail. How do you know the difference? But you're absolutely right that if that person is empathic, then they're going to know. And I think that's difficult for people who are trying to not hide themselves, but they are very, very careful about who they speak to, who they speak out to, and who they talk to about their issues, because maybe they don't know you well enough, or something like that, or me well enough. But you know, there's so much involved in just that transaction. You know, that conversation, that meeting between two people. I suppose it's the wisdom to know, the wisdom to be able to identify when to offload and when to hold back.
Absolutely.
And I think it depends on if that person has support around them as well. You know, do you have people that you can offload to, or that you can talk to without feeling like you're getting advice all the time? I mean, there's that as well. Because I think that, you know, once you say, how are you? And that person starts to talk about maybe some of the difficulties that they're having, there's other people who genuinely want to know how you are, because they want to give you advice. And that can be really difficult for people as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm just thinking about something. That could be, it could be difficult because they're also not used to it, that people really honestly are interested in how you really feel. And it's not the way our society is function. And I think, from my point of view, or from my perspective and experience, but I feel, or my experience is, the more we are honest, I mean, without the intention, if you meet someone you don't really know quite well, or in maybe your colleagues or something, and you know each other a little bit, or you feel sympathy, you can talk about things. But I feel the more we are really transparent and authentic, and honest, without maybe putting something upon other people, like overloading them with negative information, or without the intention to receive help or whatever support. Just sharing information and being honest. I feel the more honest I am with myself, the more other people open up with their selves. So I have had amazing conversations with people I don't even know quite well. And it was so deep. We had so deep conversations, honest, deep conversations, without putting pressure to someone or on someone, without expecting any support or help, because we cannot deal with everything and we cannot be there for everyone. But just sharing information, opening up, and have no masks on our
Yeah.
face, being authentic, sharing it. And I feel that when we can share something or an information that is maybe not the happiest information, but then other people very often feel hurt because
Mm,
they feel, oh my God, now I understand because I have the same. I'm going through the same, and then you can have a wonderful, inspiring conversation, and everyone is really happy. And when we say goodbye,
yeah.
yeah,
I
what
love
do you
that.
think?
Again,
Yeah.
I just love everything you say. Every time we talk, I'm just like, wow. But I think it's really interesting what you said about that we're not used to talking.
No,
And you're right. I think it's a culture thing. I think that
yeah,
it's almost like we're afraid that we've held on to this stuff that we've been carrying for so long that if we open those floodgates,
yeah,
we're afraid that it's just going to all come tumbling out all at once.
yeah.
And then how do you manage that? Now I know that that's some topics that we talked about, we want to talk about in some
Mm,
later videos. We definitely have
mm,
kind of a series of videos here that we have in mind. But yeah, there is a culture of holding on to keeping everything in our heads, keeping everything stuck in our bodies, avoiding, ignoring, what is actually really happening for us. And I suppose that's where I come in with the mindfulness training. And I know that you've
mm,
got, from your healing work that you do, you've got slightly other methods that are very similar. So
yeah,
I think that there are solutions out there for people if they do feel like everything gets overwhelming, and I think that everybody finds their own path to that healing. They just have to want to heal. If you don't have that
mm,
intention, then you're going to find it difficult, or at
yes,
least seek somebody out that might be able to help you to get started. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about healing as well. Again, we'll
mm,
talk about that later on down the line, because I do Reiki myself.
mm,
I know a bit about how it works, but I've also looked into electric body, electric health, which is a book I'm reading at the moment, which is
mm.
all about the electric body, and it's absolutely fascinating. And we'll talk about that again. There's got a big long list of things that we're going to talk
Yeah,
about later on.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
do stick with us. But if any of our viewers here, anybody that's watching this video, if you do feel the same that we do, about that question, how are you today, and you probably feel like you want to be authentic, and you're probably very empathic. If you're watching these videos, probably very empathic, and probably quite spiritual as well. And I think that if you are, it brings up its own issues too that other people might not deal with. And if we just go back to the empathy side of things, when somebody's being honest with themselves and when they're not being honest with themselves.
Yeah,
And I think it's really important for us to remember that free will is a very big part of this. I think we need to be okay with somebody saying, I'm fine, and knowing that they're not fine,
yeah,
letting them go down that path and be themselves, and
yeah.
wish them the best. What do you think?
Yes, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I would. There are so many things coming to my mind while you're talking as well. So, yeah, absolutely. Never force someone, or like trying to confront them what you feel, or I'm not doing it. So even if I feel something, but I think the intention is the most crucial thing. When I have an open heart and you just let people be, and be open and yeah, accepting the way they are, and they have their own pace. Do you say pace in English? Like
Yeah.
when they're
Yeah.
opening up, yeah, and then when they feel resistance or they're afraid and fear of being rejected, or then just let them. But I think we as society and humans, we really need to learn to have a different approach, how to communicate with each other, because I think most of the time we're not present, and we're not in tune or connected to our emotions, how we really feel. So I think we only can be authentic to the degree how we are connected to our emotions. When I'm aware how I really feel right now, then I can be authentic and transparent. And yeah, when I accept it, or when I'm with that. But if I do suppress everything in order
Yeah.
to function in this society, or in in my company and doing my work and my family and all that stuff, and I have to suppress everything because nobody's interested, and I'm suppressing everything within me, and then I'm starting to pretend. I cannot be. I don't even know what is authentic, or be very honest with everything without any bad intentions. So I think that is how the world is, or the majority of humans and people are unaware of how they communicate, and they're not in tune with themselves and in tune with each other. What
Yeah.
do you think? Does it make sense what I say? Or
Absolutely. And again, this is a topic that we've talked about, and it is literally our next video is going to be about the inner world. What is the inner world? How do we connect with the inner world? And that's exactly what you're talking about. Because I think when somebody says, oh, you need to go within, it's like, what does that mean? I've got no idea. What does that mean? Go inside. And if I do stop and I do stay still for a while, what next? So
yeah,
it's really difficult
absolutely.
to know what is the focus here. And I think with mindfulness particularly, it is about being in the present moment, and it's about exploring the present moment. What are we feeling? What are we sensing? What's going on for us? What's our thought process when our mind wanders? What happens with that? And I think that people well, there's a misconception out there that meditation is about just clearing your mind, and you can just clear your mind and be in the present moment and everything is going to be wonderful. But we have to work towards that. And certainly with my clients, it's never ever going to be a case of clear your mind. That makes me want to pull my hair out, because you can't just clear your mind straight away. It's a practice. That's why mindfulness is a practice.
Yeah.
And we need to give ourselves an opportunity and do the exercises, and keep up with the I'm going to say practice again, because it is a practice. With the meditations, but then at the same time, do we have to meditate to be in the present moment? And no, we don't. It's about using our senses, using our full senses in the present moment. And I suppose that's why it's easier to do that when you're out in a in a forest, or surrounded by trees, or by the seaside. So you've got those different sounds and things that are going on that are really interesting. What can you hear? What can you feel? What can you see in front of you? So there are many, many different ways. So any viewers watching, please don't think that meditation is the only way. If you don't get along with meditation, there are so many other ways that you can learn and train yourself to be in the present moment. And I can tell you, it's magic, absolutely magic. There's been so many books written about being in the now, being in the present moment, etc. And again, this is like these are massive books that people are reading, and they're so inspired by them. And then we're in the present moment for a few weeks, and then we're gone again.
Or maybe just for 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Sometimes just for 2 minutes.
And even 2 minutes a day, I would say, is still really, really helpful. But I think we too easily forget what the focus is. And we also have to go back to our daily lives. you know, and it really depends what we have going on. It
Yeah.
depends what experiences we've had in the past that we're still carrying with us, you know, and there's so much that goes alongside being in the present moment, that we need to first of all become aware of who we are. And to me, that is going inwards, and that is being present. I don't know about you. You can tell me.
I absolutely agree with what you said. So I also think if we have problems to meditate, or we're not used to meditation, experiencing any kind of present moment, it took me a long time as well in the past to really experience what does it mean to be present. So I also think we can start, or what do you think? We can start with a question. If we don't have to do a big meditation, just sit there or hold on for a minute, stop everything, and just, even if you do the cleaning up in your house or whatever, you can stand there for 2 minutes and say, and ask yourself, how do I really feel right now? How
Yeah.
do I feel? With questions like, how do I really feel? What do I feel right now? And then just sensing it also in the body. And I think that pulls us back into a present moment. What do you think?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why specifically. It's because curiosity is one of the attitudes of mindfulness, that we do look to be curious in the present moment. And then that's how we become aware of what is happening for us and what works for us and what is authentic to us. So I think that starting with a question is amazing. I mean, even if you go to the shops and you're choosing a piece of fruit and you're looking at of different types of fruit and go, how do I feel about eating a strawberry, and see what's going on? How do I feel about eating a banana? And what happens? Because I know that there was a long period of time where if I smelled, this is going to sound really weird, smelled like a loaf of bread, it would make me feel sick to my stomach. So I knew that bread then wasn't right for me. Or that type of bread, whatever, however it was manufactured, wasn't right for me. So it is really, really important to get in touch with the body, and to, whenever you need to make a decision, check in with yourself and find out, how are you feeling, what is right for you, not for society, not for your family, you know, nobody. What is right for you in that moment? And I'm not saying that it goes for every decision. Some decisions you have to make for your family, but find out who you are, because if we understand who we are, then it helps us to understand other people, and it helps us to have more compassion and patience for other people as well. I am going to go back slightly again, because I want to bring up the free will thing. And it's something that I personally have experienced. And I think that my belief, my experience, is that a lot of pain comes from not allowing people to have their own free will. And I'm not saying that that's a conscious decision. It's a very unconscious one. Particularly if, for example, it has to do with a family member that's made a decision that is difficult for the rest of the family to manage or deal with, or have to, you know, to get around emotionally. But we have to also understand at the same time that person, you know, if they're of age, that they're an adult, that they have to make their own mistakes as well. And I think this comes into it, where that person has to accept the consequences of their actions in the same way that we do.
Yeah.
Have you any thoughts on that?
On free will and decisions? And
totally sprung that one on you.
no, that's fine. Everything's fine. No, it's just on free will and like controlling other people's will, or overriding other people's will.
Absolutely, because we have these unconscious needs, don't we, that we look for other people to fulfill. And I do think that it can cause a huge amount of pain for us, unless we're willing to understand that person needs to accept the consequences of their actions. I'm not saying every scenario fits into this, but I think for the majority, I'd say in maybe 75% of circumstances, a lot of pain can be reduced or can dissipate completely if we understand that individual has made that decision for themselves
Absolutely.
and has to understand the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely. First of all, I would like to say, I mean, I think most of us humans, they are not aware that we have a free will. And what does it mean? What is a free will? I mean,
Yeah, we
it's
don't
written in
actually
the
know.
Bible.
That's a really
Okay.
good point. Yeah.
Don't you think? I think because in the past where I started when my awakening has started, I really become aware what does it mean having a free will. I mean, what is free will? And I think in order to really choose out of a free will, we have to become aware the way we feel. And when we are aware of how we really feel, I mean, with everything, negatively, positively, painful, if we are aware how we feel, the more we can make conscious decisions with our free will, because most of the time we're unaware in all our inner aspects or needs we're not aware of. So we make unconscious decisions and we're not even aware of our unconscious decisions, which have consequences as well, or maybe negative consequences, or
Yeah.
we don't know what we want. We don't even know what we want. And the more I think we are in tune with our own emotions, the more we become aware of how we feel, the more we are connected to ourselves, and then we can really make conscious decisions and choices with our free will. And respecting the free will of others is most important. I think it's crucial, but we're not aware of it. So many times we're so used to it that we tell others what they should do, how they should feel, and we even tell it ourselves. This programming and TV series and social media, everyone is telling us how
Yeah.
we should feel. How we should feel. So we try to adjust to things that we think we should be. So we suppress everything that we are really are.
Yeah.
And we only can know ourselves as the more we are aware of ourselves, and we have to, and there it comes to connect with our own emotions, to be aware of how do I really feel. I don't feel that way, because sometimes we think, oh, in this situation, or this person said this, or this person expects something from me, now I should feel this way or I should feel that way in order to avoid a conflict. Very
Yeah.
often we try to avoid conflicts,
Yeah.
and so we have a kind of a tag of a war inside. And then we make maybe unconscious decisions which feel more comfortable and more safe. But
Yeah.
I think everything starts also with self-awareness. And
Yes.
the more we are aware, the more we do these conscious decisions with free will. And then we can, as you said before, what I think is absolutely important, then we can also understand others, and then we can even more respect other people's free will, because we separate our own need and their needs. So my needs are not always dependent on their needs. I mean, there's so much we could talk about,
Yeah.
but you does it make sense what I try to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to write something down. Hang on. Because I just thought of something else and I'll forget. Okay.
Mm.
A couple of things from what you've said there, which is spot on from my perspective. And of course, everybody has different opinions, and we'd love to know, from our viewers, what is your opinion on this? Absolutely.
Mm.
I think first thing is it's time for us to take the pressure off. We
Yeah.
put ourselves under so much pressure that we're not even conscious of. And
Yeah.
it's not until I get somebody and sit down in front of somebody in a one-to-one session with a client
Mm.
that just by hearing them talk about being happy. Look, happy is in a word in itself is a pressure. It's too much pressure, too much. So so let's change that word to something like more peaceful. I just want a peaceful life. That's more easily
Mm.
obtainable, but we have to
Mm.
unravel ourselves and unwind in order to find that
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Also, we're used to living in a hierarchy society, aren't we? So we haven't really known anything different. And some of us have stepped outside of that, and other people are in it, which also brings me around, because this is the way my brain works, to actually there are people that choose not to use their free will.
Yeah.
And we need to be okay with that as well, as difficult as it is. And I actually think that, by forcing, and this is a controversial subject for sure, by forcing people to use their free will can be quite dangerous unless that person is ready for it or already has an idea that they can use their free will. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if we're not aware of our free will and the power of free will, what does it really mean? I think even if we don't make any choices, making no choice is also a choice. That's what I think. And everything has at least consequences, and we have to take them. We are responsible for them. And some people, they put a lot of pressure on it in order to force us to make decisions we don't even like, but we feel like we want to avoid some kind of problems or obstacles. So we make some choices, maybe not out of this free will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I lost your question.
I think that we both have a similar point of view
Yeah,
of being in the present moment, unraveling the confusion,
yeah,
bringing ourselves back to a peaceful, calm
yeah,
place in order to understand ourselves better and understand what is authentic to
yeah.
us.
And
Is a really fantastic start to not only feeling the whole spectrum of joy and
yeah,
peace and calm, but also naturally that leads into a successful life if that's what you want. I mean, I do specialize in anxiety and depression, but what I have found is that understanding the relationship between the mind, the body, and the energetic body,
mm,
that by doing this work, we naturally raise our vibration or our frequency,
yeah,
and we start to come in line with the law of attraction automatically. It is a line into and a much more
yeah,
secure foundation, and you will go into the law of attraction with a much securer foundation, and that's something that is just come up again and
yeah,
again with different clients, and certainly it's just magical. Something really magnificent happens when the mind and the body come in alignment and agree with each other. I found with myself for a very long time that my head was one place and my heart was in a different place, and
mm,
I didn't really know who my authentic self was. But until
mm,
those two come in alignment, you'll always, there'll be a certain
mm,
amount of scattering, almost like, we're jigsaw pieces, but we're in different places. We haven't been fit back
mm,
together again. But it is super important, and being in the moment is also about aligning the mind with the body.
yeah,
And as we do that, the energetic body then lights up. So it's like,
yeah,
if I was saying this yesterday to somebody, I was like, oh my God, I hadn't really thought about it this way. But if the electric doesn't work in the car doesn't work.
yeah,
If the electric is not working in our body doesn't work.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
everything that has electricity has a frequency, So we have to bring our mind and our body into alignment in
Mm,
order to be able to increase our voltage. And for
mm,
me, from the reading that I've done recently, that is the easiest way of
mm,
understanding. And certainly I hope that other people might be able to learn from that as well. But it is all, it all starts with the self. It all starts with slowing down, paying attention to what's going
yeah,
on. So do you want to, because we're 34 minutes
yeah.
in, we don't even think that
May
we
I,
last long.
may I add something very
Oh,
short?
I was going to
Because
say,
it's great what you say, because I also think allowing us, so that pushes us, or not pushing, but it's allowing ourselves to become aware, or allowing ourselves even the negative emotions, like not suppressing them, because when we try to suppress everything, we're not able to come into the present moment, and we suppress and we rob ourselves from the possibility to really become aware of how we really are. So allowing ourselves, even if we feel very bad for a week, for a day, whatever, for a moment, allowing this also in this negative emotion or this painful emotion, and also asking ourselves, what do I fear when I start to show myself the way I am or the way I really feel? Are there fears, I try to hide or repress or suppress? And becoming aware of our fears as well, they help us becoming more aligned with our true selves, or with our, what we really are, what we really feel, and how we really feel. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. And I think resistance to being in the present is definitely something that we need to talk about, and it needs a full session on its own, but it's so important.
Yeah.
I personally, in the last few years, have really spent the time to understand why I'm resisting the present. And there's so many different reasons why, and I'm sure that you've done the same. But then at the same time, I've got to this point where I don't want to not be present now, because anything that takes me away from the present is taking me away from who I am, who I am in my soul. And and that can include, alcohol and drugs and different things. But there's when you start to get used to it, and it does feel strange to begin with, once you get used to being in the present, it's so beautiful that you don't want to not be in the present. I'm not going to lie. It is. There is a sense of euphoria that can come with it. And the more you do it, the more you want to do it eventually.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Should we finish up there? Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
Oh, I could talk a lot. So it's and I think we're the same, Ciara. I think we both could talk a lot about it, because we come from this point to the next point, and everything at least is somehow connected. But you said everything wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, and you did too. And thank you so much for coming on. And
was
we
my
will
pleasure. Thank you.
this again. We'll do a series of videos. And if anybody has any ideas, any of our viewers have any ideas, what you want us to talk about, go for it. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Julia, you should even do your own channel, so we can, upload videos on there as well, and do different bits and pieces and advertise your healing. And certainly, can you send me across all of your, in the description, we'll put the links to all of your contact details if anybody's interested in the healing side of things. So what is it that you do exactly, just so the viewers know if they want to have a session with you?
Yeah, I'm doing remote energy healing. So I'm not doing Reiki, but I have my own kind of technique. I'm doing it intuitively. I do sessions like going into connecting people with their inner child and their emotions, and help people to process suppressed stuff and negative or blocks, or like trauma, whatever keeps them stuck in their lives. And also like regular counseling, talking about spirituality. So I'm available for a lot of things. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, definitely. We'll get those details in the description box. If you are local to Thanet in Kent, I am doing reflexology. If you want to get in contact with me, and I also do mindfulness sessions 1-to-1. If there's enough people interested, I'll do a group training session if that's what you want. But I also specialize as well in helping people to get past their blockages. They might be coming to a crossroads, and I use a variety of tools to do that. I'll use pendulum, I'll use tarot, things like that. So I do tarot readings as well. So if you want to, and it's pretty much a flat rate, to be honest, because it very much depends on what your needs are as an individual. So not one thing fits everybody. So there is a certain amount of flexibility there too. But Julia, thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Ciara. It was a big pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Talk soon.
Yeah, bye.